Hi everyone, I don't got Rona no more, which is kind of nice and dandy. I actually got the news about a week ago on Saturday, which I stream on. By the way, I stream on Saturday. So if you had been following my Twitch channel and you've been watching, you should know by now. I don't got Rona. By the way, twitch.tv/Vogav. You should definitely watch that. Now, I want to start this video off by adding a couple of disclaimers. First of all, as some of you may know, I said in my last video that I want to make a conspiracy theory video about this whole situation going on right now because, because it's, some of you may know, it's very fun to dabble in conspiracy theories, and it's nice and all. It's fun. You feel like Detective Conan, but it's also very important to know this is not 100% real. Okay, this is just a conspiracy theory. There's no evidence for it. I'm just going off of some hardcore overthinking. That's pretty much it. That's all there is to this. So don't take this as hardcore fucking evidence against your political rival or something. This is just some fucking speculation. Hardcore fucking speculation. Okay, that's all there is to it. And it's just fun. Now, besides that, I'd also like to disclose my political affiliation because it's very important to know that I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat. And why is it important to know that? Because it's important because when you know that, you can't come at me and say, oh, you're just a right-wing cunt. You're just a right-wing retard. Because I'm not. I'm a constitutionalist. I support whoever supports the Constitution. So if one side supports the Constitution, I'll support them. If it's the Democrats, I'll support the Democrats. If it's the Republicans, I'll support the Republicans. Either way, I'll support whoever supports the Constitution. With that out of the way, let's go into the video with a little bit of a time travel back to 1991. A man by the name of Rodney King, a film actor who passed away back in 2012, was stopped over by police for drunk driving after a high-speed chase, and then he was beaten right before his arrest, or during his arrest. Now, this happened in 1991, March 3rd, but the riots didn't start until 1992. So now after that, there was a bunch of different procedures in place, and eventually, the police officers that beat him up weren't charged for anything, which in turn kind of led to a lot of people being mad and upset because back then police brutality was very much a thing, and a very commonplace thing. By a very commonplace thing at that. Now the protests were actually peaceful at the start, but then as time progressed, they turned into riots, which turned into looting, which gave birth to what we now call the Roof Koreans, which are basically Korean people in Koreatown, which is where everything happened, Koreatown in LA, making sure that their stuff will not be looted again, and that their stores will not be harmed yet again by rioters and protesters and whatnot, violent people. So they poached themselves up on the rooftops of their stores and opened fire on looters. They also helped quell the whole fucking rioting thing using the help of the National Guard. Or, well, not using the help, my bad. They helped the National Guard quell the protests. Now, during the whole thing, they actually ended up prosecuting those officers, and putting them in jail, which is great. But they did not manage to quell the riots just with that. So that's just a little history lesson about what we're going to talk about, because this leads into that. Now let's jump forward, back into the future, 30 years into the future, to where we are now. June of 2020, a man by the name of George Floyd was killed in the hands of police. Then the police officers were not prosecuted. The doctor that gave the post-mortem report said, "Oh, well, he died because he had a pre-existing medical condition, not because the police officer choked him for 8 minutes straight." Now, this whole thing is something everybody pretty much agrees on. This is fucking horrible. George Floyd did not deserve to die. And justice was not served at that day. Justice was served eventually, but not at that time. Now, this gave birth to protests, which gave birth to riots. Now, with chaos on the streets and the person in power being Trump, the person in office being Trump, my bad, the average person would think to themselves, "Oh, who's the person in charge right now? Trump? Yeah, fuck him, I'm gonna vote for the competition because I don't want chaos in my streets." National Guard was called in to help, couldn't do much. And the media has been trying nonstop to twist this whole thing on Trump as if to say this is his fault. Now, here's where my conspiracy kicks in. Not exactly here it kicks in, but before that. Kicks in where at the point where the whole thing happened in Minneapolis and the doctor gave the post-mortem report as if to cover for those officers. So the whole thing happened in Minneapolis, which is in Minnesota. The mayor in Minneapolis is part of the DNC, as well as the governor of Minnesota. Both of them are part of the DNC. Now, we know that the left has tried some underhanded tactics and some violent tactics in order to get Trump out of power. I'm not saying that this whole thing was staged and George Floyd was murdered by the hands of the DNC. No, I'm not saying that. George Floyd was murdered in the hands of police. What I am saying is the cover-up might have been a DNC thing. See, the whole cover-up thing looks a bit too perfect. Now, the moment that I heard about the cover-up, I immediately thought to myself, "Oh shit, this will probably lead to a second 1992. We need the Roof Koreans again. We need them to help us out." Needless to say, it's been nearly 2 months, and I don't see any Roof Koreans line up to help out, but we can always hope. So, what might have happened was that the DNC, well, not the whole fucking party, but like someone from the DNC, either the mayor of Minnesota or maybe the governor of Minnesota, came by and said, "Hey, you are going to give the post-mortem report, and I want you to lie. I wanted to say something else happened. I wanted to cover for those officers." They lied to him. They told him something about doing something, about it being used for something else. I don't know. But this is what might have actually happened. This is what my conspiracy says, where it goes. Now, after that, obviously, if I was able to deduce that riots would happen, they were able to deduce the same, which would in turn be used to lower Trump's ratings. So, with Trump's ratings being lowered, the media would jump in on the bandwagon and try to downplay the whole thing, and then federal agents were deployed. So the media would say, "Oh, riots don't exist anymore," but Trump is trying to quell the protests, is trying to kill your First Amendment right by having those federal agents come by and try to silence you, try to stop you from protesting. So now you see them actually flipping the narrative because they see that they can no longer say the riots don't exist, and they're saying, "Oh, the riots exist, but like they're all Trump's thing. It's not a myth, but it's Trump. Trump did start the whole riot." And this is basically my conspiracy. My conspiracy says that the DNC knew that this would happen, And so they realized, okay, we know this is gonna happen. We might as well stop. We know this could happen if we make sure that those officers aren't persecuted at the start of the whole thing. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna snowball this whole thing into where it is today, into the point where anarchy rules the fucking land. And then they vote for us instead of Trump, because Trump's America is this. And with years of people saying, "Oh, this is Trump's America," and years of the media lying about police officers being this power hungry cunts that just try to kill you, and manipulating body camera footage. I think that, like, with all this in there, this little conspiracy theory is very reasonable. But again, there is no evidence for this. Quick little update. I just got out of the shower. Thank you. Bye bye. No. So quick little update about the video. So at the same day that I recorded the video, it was ready to upload. Then Tim Pool actually posted a video on his own channel. Tim Pool is a very accurate source of news. And he posted a video talking about the mayor in Portland willing to negotiate a ceasefire with the DHS for Antifa, which kind of proves there is some connection between the DNC and Antifa, which in turn kind of proves I have some evidence for my little conspiracy theory over here. So it's not completely fucking out of left field, this whole conspiracy. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So please, for the love of God, don't go around spreading this like this is truth. You can spread this as a conspiracy theory out of mind, but not as if this is 100% legit or this is 100% what happened, because it is not 100% what happened. We don't know what happened. We don't know if what happened is exactly what we know, and we don't know if what happened is something beyond that. So yeah, again, just a conspiracy theory. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to remind you all that this whole thing, I'd just like to say that this whole thing is a one-time thing, probably. I'm probably not going to be talking about politics again, or at least this situation again. My nose has been itching like crazy, and I've been yawning the whole fucking time, so I apologize about all the jump cuts. So, yeah. I just don't like to dabble in the whole thing over here too much. Especially not on my channel nor my Twitch. I like to keep those separate from politics so that people can be welcome here, and I can make fun of dumb people with pretty much everyone. So, ladies and gentlemen, just remember that. And yeah, with out of the way, unless something absolutely fucking crazy happens, no clickbait crazy, I'm probably not gonna be talking about this again. And again, remember, there's a conspiracy, so no actual proof for any of this. At least yet. Anyway, with that out of the way, bada boom, I'm out. Peace.